The UFC is finally giving us some stacked fight night cards with fans, okay, guys? We're going to talk about it because we got some sick announcements today for UFC Seattle on February 22nd. Main event, Cejudo versus Song Yadong. Co-main event, Rob Font versus Dom Cruz. And a list of other names as well. We're going to get into it. We're going to talk some little breakdown prediction, and we're going to talk about the state of UFC fight nights right now, okay? So stick around to hear my thoughts. I'm Wyatt, and this is Fight Society. Before we get into the video, guys, please make sure to like, subscribe, drop a comment down below, all that good YouTube stuff. It really helps me out a lot. If you want access to bonus content and you want to support the channel even further, become a channel member through the link below this video or the join button on our channel homepage. Thank you very much. Back to the video. Okay, so this fight night was originally expected, in my opinion, to be Fluffy Anthony Hernandez and Brendan Allen in a middleweight main event. I was very convinced that that was going to be the main event, and then like a Chiesa versus somebody in the co-main event because Michael Chiesa is from that area. But we just got some crazy announcements today. Henry Cejudo versus Song Yadong, a bantamweight contenders matchup in the main event. Not necessarily a #1 contenders fight, but definitely the winner of this is probably one win away from a title fight, if it's Cejudo maybe. But that, and then also Rob Font, Dom Cruz as the co-main event. So we got a bantamweight main and co-main. And we also have some crazy fights on the card as well. Dana dropped this bout list right here on his Twitter. It is Song Yadong, Henry Cejudo main event. And keep in mind, this is not the official order, but Cejudo, Song Yadong is the main event. Rob Font, Dom Cruz co-main. And then the rest of the card, not in any order. Edson Barbosa, Steve Garcia. Weird matchup. I would have fed Edson Barbosa to another prospect. Gene Silva against Melsik Bagdasaryan. Cool fight. Gene Silva fighting Nerds prospect going up against a reputable guy. He's not fighting a bum. He already beat Drew Dober, and now he's fighting Melsik Bagdasaryan. Impressive run so far for Gene Silva. Really good fight. Probably like the main card opener, knowing how much energy Gene Silva brings to a fight and how he barks and how crazy he is. That's a great fight to open up the main card. But we'll see what obviously the order is. And then we also have Brendan Allen, Anthony Fluffy Hernandez, which I was very convinced was the main event before they made all of these announcements. And then Chiesa, like I mentioned, they haven't found him an opponent yet, but he's from the Seattle area. They're putting him on the card. That makes sense. Big name, blah, blah, blah. We also have Adam Fugit against Islam Dulatov. Not much to say about that one. Curtis Blades against Rizvan Kuniev. You literally have Curtis Blades ranked 5th in the heavyweight division, coming off of an interim title loss to Tom Aspinall. And now his first opponent since that is an unranked guy from the Contender Series that failed multiple drug tests in PFL. It's crazy what's going on here. That's something we might need to storm Dana's office for, you know? And then Ion Kultilaba and Ibo Aslan, that's going to be a banger fight. That's going to be a car crash, just a couple of roided out light heavyweights. And then Ketlin Vieira, Macy Chiasson, cool ranked fight. That'll probably be the one women's fight that they put on the main card. And then Chidi Njokuani, doesn't have an opponent yet. And then you have Mansour Abdul Malik. He's going up against Antonio Tricoli. That's Mackenzie Dern's husband. And then Modestus Bukauskas, who is a Tom Aspinall training partner, going up against Rafael Quequera, who just fought on, I think it was UFC 308. It was one of the Saudi or Abu Dhabi cards. And so those are the cards. Let's talk about some of these because some of these are important, okay? First off, Henry Cejudo versus Song Yadong. I want to say Henry Cejudo, but because I find Henry Cejudo entertaining. I want to see him in big fights, especially in the lighter weight classes. Like, I would have liked to see Cejudo move down to 125 to fight Pantoja or something like that. But he was training Pantoja for Moreno, so maybe they're buddies or something like that. Given that Song Yadong's last fight, he gave Peter Yan a very hard fight. Peter Yan still won convincingly to me, but Peter Yan's been on a tear. Peter Yan's back. And Song Yadong looked really good. And based on how Cejudo's looked, I think Song Yadong is going to fuck Henry Cejudo up. I think he's going to sprawl on the takedown attempt, be the bigger man, the faster man, the harder hitting man. I think he's going to put an ass whooping on Henry Cejudo. And Henry Cejudo is very hittable on the feet. He doesn't implement his wrestling the way that he used to, and he wasn't able to implement it very much against Merab, or basically at all against Merab. and then very, very little against Aljamain Sterling the fight before that. As much as I think it'd be entertaining and good for the division to see Cejudo win and move back up towards the title, because I feel like Song Yadong has lost to so many ranked bantamweights. He's lost to Cheeto, Corey Sandhagen, Peter Yan. There's probably a few other ones in there. Yadong's a young guy, and that leaves time for him to kind of float around in the rankings without getting an actual push unless he gets a win streak. Whereas Cejudo, one win and they'll be like, oh, Cejudo title shot or Cejudo O'Malley or something like that. But I'm going to take Yadong in this fight decisively. Moving on from there, Rob Font, Dom Cruz. Dom Cruz has been out for too long. He's coming off of a KO loss. I don't get this fight at all. Why is Dom Cruz not fighting Jose Aldo? That's like a fight that they missed multiple times now. I don't get it. So Rob Font's not super impressive at this point in his career either. He's never been crazy impressive, but when he gets that jab going, when he stays at range, sometimes he follows up that jab with a nice kind of looping right hand, can have good like flashy knockout moments like when he knocked out Adrian Yanez. But I think this is going to be a Rob Font decision. I really don't think Dom Cruz is going to have much for him. He's just old. He's been out for so long. He hasn't won recently. His style does not work anymore. I mean, you saw Cheeto Vera freaking kicked his head off on the way out of those, you know, the way that Dom Cruz likes to bob and weave and roll out of exchanges. Cheeto teed him up for a head kick. Henry Cejudo got him with a knee in the same way. Dom Cruz is just way past should be fighting unless it's like big fights, and Rob Font is not a big fight. When I think big fights to bring Dom Cruz back for, it's Jose Aldo, Henry Cejudo, maybe a fucking Garbrandt rematch. I don't know, but not this fight. And that's why I'm going to take Rob Font 30-27 or 29-28 decision. The other fights on the card, Edson Barbosa, Steve Garcia. Fuck, I might pick Steve Garcia in that fight because Edson Barbosa has just not looked good recently. I'm going to take Gene Silva against Melsick, but that's going to be a banger fight. I'm going to take Anthony Hernandez with the heavy pressure wrestling and cardio to kind of just drown out Brendan Allen. These are just early predictions. It, of course, could change. Michael Chiesa, don't know who he's going to fight. Fugit Dulatov, don't care that much about that fight. Curtis Blades, if he doesn't smoke this guy, I'm going to be upset. I like Curtis Blades a lot. This guy's a roid cheat. If Curtis Blades, like, this is such a fucking disrespectful matchup for Curtis Blades. Like, justice for Curtis Blades. We should be knocking on Dana's office door with pitchforks and torches right now for this. But Curtis Blades is going to KO him early. He's going to Chris Dawkins him, you know? Colty Laba and Ibo Aslan, they're both like kind of just like Hulk built, roided out light heavyweights. So I'll take Ibo Aslan. He'd be KOing people, and Ion Colty Laba does not impress me ever. The only thing I literally ever see him get any sort of glaze for is his fucking Hulk thing, and that's pretty cringe. Ketlin Vieira, Macy Chasson. I am going to be taking Ketlin Vieira. She's coming off of a fight against Kayla Harrison. I think that's probably getting you ready for just about anything. Could fight John Jones after that, after taking on a Kayla Harrison as a woman. You're basically fighting a welterweight man. And I'm just saying build-wise, you know what I'm saying? Chidi Njokuani, exciting. Mansour Abdul Malik is just going to beat the brakes off of Antonio Tricoli. He's a walking punching bag. And I'll take Modestas Bukauskas because I think he's very talented and underrated, especially because most people only know him for Khalil Roundtree just blowing up his knee. So that's my thoughts on these fights. Very, very good fight night, guys. I mean, are we finally getting into the era, like the pre-COVID type of era? Is that where we're going with this? Are we going to have banger fights on the road where they go Texas, Boston, China, instead of just back-to-back weeks at a freaking warehouse outside of Las Vegas? So that's my thoughts, guys. Banger fights. I feel like we're really getting somewhere with these fight nights. I think that the YouTube and social media talk about lazy UFC cards is finally getting through because we're getting banger pay-per-views to start the year. 311's crazy. 313 is stacked with a lot of well-known Brazilians, up and coming and established. We'll probably see Pereira on that card. I think the UFC's stepping it up big time in 2025. So let me know your thoughts down below. Thanks for watching this video. Please make sure to like, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff. It really helps me out a lot. If you want access to bonus content, become a channel member today by clicking the join button on our channel homepage or the link down below this video. If you're interested in some non-MMA content from me, go check out my podcast, What's Up Bro, with Wyatt and Bo, in the link down below. Go watch this suggested video, and I'll see you next time.